National Assembly. I'm the Speaker of the National Assembly. I'm the Chairman of the committee. On my right is the distinguished Deputy Speaker, Honorable Gladys Boss. The left is Mr. Ndombi. He is one of our deputy clerks. I will invite members of the committee to introduce themselves, starting with Honorable Naisula.
Naisula Lesuda, MP Samburu West.
Kimani Shongo.
Nelson Koech, MP Belgut.
And I'm David Kosing, MP Poko South.
Gikaria David, Nakuru Town East.
Emase Mary, Teso South.
George Gitonga Murugara, Tharaka.
Owen Baya, Kilifi North.
Robert Mbui Kadhiani.
Stephen Mule, MP Matungulu.
Rehab Mukami, Nyeri County.
And I'm Caleb Amisi. Yeah, Caleb Amisi support.
Thank you, Chairman. Mishimboko Likoni.
We will start. Erick, we'll invite you to introduce yourself. Tell us your name, your educational background, your work experience, your competences, and why you think you have the suitability to the appointment to which you have been proposed. After that, you give your papers to the clerk to verify. But before we do that, we'll invite you to take an oath. We have the holy books, the Quran and the Bible. Which one do you swear with?
The Bible.
So be upstanding. Take the Bible in your right hand and recite the oath that the sergeant will hold for you.
I, Erick Muuga, do swear that the evidence I shall give for this committee on the matter under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Take your seat. You've given her your papers to bring to the clerk. He will cross-check with what we have to see if they correspond. So start by introducing yourself, your name, your educational background, your work experience, and your competences.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the Committee on Appointments. I'll start by thanking God for this opportunity to sit in front of the esteemed members and also the President for giving me an opportunity on this nomination. My name is Erick Murithii Muuga, 32 years of age, born in a village called Adi, which is in Igembe South constituency, Meru County. I went to Adi Primary School, which is a walking distance from my birthplace, and did my KCPE in 2005. I performed well and enrolled in Lenana School, where I sat my KCSE in the year 2009. After that, I performed well. I progressed to the University of Nairobi, Faculty of Architecture and Engineering, where I did a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and civil and construction engineering. I performed really well. I got a first class amongst my colleagues. And upon graduation, I got a job that relates to this docket of sanitation and irrigation in a company called Mangat IB Patel Consulting Engineers. This is one of the leading consulting firms in this country. While working, I was very interested in water, so I enrolled back in the year 2017 for a master's degree in the University of Nairobi and specialized on water resources engineering, where I graduated in the year 2022. I'm born in a family with 6 siblings. I'm the third born. I am married, and I've worked for 8 to 9 years, Honorable Speaker, on water and sanitation. In the process of carrying out my daily activities, I have worked at all levels, mostly in the private sector. I've worked at all levels. I've worked and engaged with stakeholders from the ministry, mostly water development works as consultant. I have progressed in my career growth from an intern to a design engineer, and now to assistant resident engineer also, and also in some projects, an assistant project engineer. I am duly registered with the Engineers Board of Kenya as a professional engineer, and duly registered with the Institution of Engineers of Kenya as a corporate member. During my work activities, I have developed a passion to ensure that every Kenya, in my little scope that I've served so far, has access to water, which is a human right, and also a constitutional right. Service to my fellow countrymen is a service to God, and given the opportunity, if this House approves my nomination, I will do all I can to ensure that Kenyans have access to an economic and basic right and serve with honor and dignity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. I'll now invite members to ask you some questions, and I expect you to answer the questions clearly, precisely, and concisely. Hakuna stories. You just answer the questions as they are asked. I'll invite the Deputy Speaker to be the first to ask you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Muuga, you most likely were following the proceedings in Parliament and the country, and you know that the Finance Bill 2024 was withdrawn, which therefore means that there is a shortage of funding in the ministry to which you seek confirmation. So that I would like to hear your ideas on the alternative. For example, since the majority of farmers are small-scale holders, leveraging on the use of water pans and harvesting during the rainy season for use for the rest of the year. We know that places like Yatta only get 2 days of rain a year, but they have water pans that are producing food the whole year. So we want to see how you can leverage on that. So the higher percentage of will be water pans as opposed to big dams, which you don't have money for now. And also, how will you leverage on the public-private partnerships to be able to fund the water sector in the light of shortage of funding? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. I would like to respond to Honorable Gladys Boss' question on the rejected finance bill and shortage of funding. The Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation has two state departments, the State Department of Irrigation, State Department of Water and Sanitation. The two state departments, the State Department of Irrigation has had a budget cut of almost 1.7 billion. The State Department of Irrigation and Sanitation and Water has had a budget cut of 2.7 billion. That means we can't really develop large-scale dams, as you have correctly stated, and we need to raise funds. Raising funds, as one of the ways you've suggested, as you've mentioned, is the PPPs, public-private partnerships, that we package our projects in such a way that we attract public interest in our projects, but also ensure that the partnerships do not exploit the end user. The end user is the consumer. This, in the ministry, we have WASREB, Water Services Regulatory Board, and this will ensure that consumers who are the final end users of these services that the ministry seeks to offer will be served at the right tariffs. WASREB is responsible for the tariffs. On water pans is not a long-term solution to our water problems, especially in the areas you've mentioned of Yatta, etc. But they are relatively inexpensive compared to dams. To develop large-scale dams, that's where we will need the leverage of PPPs. And in this case, I will work with the Directorate of PPPs and the Exchequer, the National Treasury, to ensure that Kenyans get value for money. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Indeed, Erick has preempted my question because I wanted to ask him about how he can leverage on PPPs. But since you have answered that, I don't know if you are to explore the possibility of using PPPs for the large-scale dams. Do you, in your opinion, think there is also an opportunity to leverage on the development of dams together with using those dams for agriculture and leasing land for large-scale farming, where you can get investors who will want to lease land for large-scale farming and at the same time develop the dams for use in the irrigation projects, and the same dams can be used to provide water, as you said, to end users at a rate that will not exploit the Kenyan consumers of water. Two, I have seen you have had quite some experience with in the area of sanitation, especially your work with the Nairobi River Sewerage Project. And one of your state departments, if approved, will deal with sanitation matters. How do you intend to deal with the issue of pollution? Working again together with the Ministry of Environment, do you see any opportunities around that space? Thank you, Speaker.
Erick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. In response to the question from Chungwa, Honorable Chungwa, it is true that to develop large-scale dams, we will need external funding that the government at the moment, due to austerity measures, cannot sustain. These large-scale dams, Honorable Ichungwa, through the chairperson or the speaker, are multi-purpose dams. They not only provide water for domestic use, which is basic, they also provide water for irrigation. Irrigation is a key component in sustaining and developing climate resilience amongst arid and semi-arid areas, hassles. The concept Honorable Ichung'wah through the speaker has raised is viable. That if we develop a dam, a large-scale dam, in an arid and semi-arid area, it is prudent to also have a PPP to lease land for irrigation so that we have value for money for our large investments. It would be utterly wrong, if approved by this House, if I don't explore that option. Water is a human right, and also water is intertwined with food security. So on irrigation, Honorable Ichung'wah, through the speaker, that is correct. That's correct.
Could you tell us, since you've worked in the water sector, do you have any success, do you know of any success stories where the dams, large-scale dams have been built using the PPP method?
Thank you for your question, Honorable Boss, through the speaker. There are case studies. I haven't done any of them, but there are many case studies where actually in the development of concept notes for these PPPs, irrigation is a key component so that during financial feasibility, when doing a dam, we expect benefits, apart from indirect benefits of such as microclimates that develop within the region. The piece that comes with avoidance of animal, livestock, and people conflicts due to drought and famine. Some benefits, key benefits that are considered are domestic water, irrigation, very key for production of food, and hydropower. Thank you.
Small follow-up on that, because of those issues of PPP CS nominee. You cut the image of a young person, very professional, good scholar, and that of a clean slate. You'll be getting into a space in the public sector that over the years has been marred by corruption. I see you shaking your head. I hope that shaking of your head is signifying a determination that you will not get roped into the cartels that have bedeviled the water sector over the years. If you have been taken through the State Department of Irrigation and the construction of those mega dams, from Badasa to Ma Dam, they're all riddled with corruption. What can you tell the people of Kenya, and more so the young people of Kenya, in relation to where you stand today and the position you'll take in the fight against corruption in the development of water resources in the country?
Thank you, Speaker. In response to Honorable Ichung'wah's question on the fact that I am about to face cartels and corruption, I will put my stand public. I have diligently served in my previous positions. I have held transparency, accountability, and my firm stand on corruption is, as you've said, I come as a clean slate. I'm not beholden to anyone. I am not shackled or tethered to anyone. And I think this is my personal opinion. Corruption is a cancer in the society. We have to root it out one way or the other. And if my nomination is approved by this House, I will engage in my duties, bracing and embracing integrity, honesty, and accountability to lead from the front. And if there are couplets, and I would expect the same from state officers under my mandate in the ministry. And if any of them is found capable of this, I understand we are a constitutionally bound country, and I will let the agents that deal with corruption, that is the EACC and other investigative bodies, take their course, and the law should be followed to the letter. Thank you, sir.
Nelson.
You come into the cabinet as the face of the young people. I'd like to know how you intend to use your ministry to create employment, because the biggest problem that we have in the country at the moment is youth unemployment. I want to hear that. And what innovations will you be proposing in the cabinet to make sure that the young people of this country have opportunities to be employed?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. I would like to respond to Honorable Nelson on youth employment. 75% of Kenya's economy is driven by agriculture. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate that the young people are advocating for services. I am not naive, and I will appreciate that. On youth employment, the ministry as a State Department of Irrigation. Irrigation is mandated to harvest, store water. It is mandated to reclaim lands for productivity. And it is also mandated to increase the acreage of irrigation in the country. If approved by this House, I would first of all start by sensitization. We need as a country to appreciate that agriculture is not a by the way. It is a profession in itself. It is an economic activity that generates income to all of us. The young people, we need to understand that since high school, I would work with other ministries such as the Ministry of Education, that projects such as micro irrigation that the ministry is rolling out, whereby we sink boreholes, pump the water to an elevated tank, and give the opportunity to clubs like 4K clubs to irrigate land for subsistence farming. Those activities are being coordinated with agriculture teachers to inculcate that and train the young people, who I understand approximately 800,000 to 500,000 young people are getting out of tertiary institutions. If they have this prior knowledge, and when they come out, I will advocate for private entrepreneurs to further these skills acquired at school level, while the ministry's job would be to provide water for irrigation. On innovation, we as a country, we have to embrace the fact that technology is changing every day. Changes in technology comes with new ideas, brighter and better ways to do activities. For example, in the ministry, I have been involved in water service providers distribution networks. These networks, most of them are people depend on memory to remember where the existing lines were, how they were done, when they were done. So I would encourage innovation in activities such as modeling, which will empower and employ young people in these water service providers to forego and to eliminate dependence on people's memory. Technicians depend on memory to tell you where the pipeline is. Smart meters in these WSPs, where These meters are GSM enabled, creating more opportunities for the youth. And if I find an opportunity to sit in the cabinet as approved by this house, I would also be a champion to developing policies, not only in my ministry, but in other ministries that include and take care of public participation, especially the young people, inclusivity, and that their opinions are heard and they find the final decision or the final policy that is adopted as a country accommodates their issues.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Naisula.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Muuga, my question is, if you are found suitable by this committee and the National Assembly to be the CS of water, sanitation and irrigation, how will you balance the thin line between completion of existing and ongoing projects and starting new ones? And you should just have in mind, if approved, these members of parliament and many others who are not here will be knocking your door, saying there's this project in my constituency. And I want to know whether you'll also be intimidated. Some of these members who are third timers, fourth timers, older than you, bigger than you, please, Kenyans would like to know how you'll be dealing with that. Then the second question is, I want to pick your thought on the many water agencies we have in this country. We have them in Regional Development Authority, we have some under the Ministry of Water, and what purpose they serve. You know, they're all serving the same communities. We're giving funds to a certain regional development body, we're giving another one to a water agency. The money for development is lesser than the recurrent expenditure. I want to pick your thoughts whether that is a prudent use of resources for us as a country.
Hold, Erick will take another one. Posing.
Thank you, Speaker. For the nominee, I don't know whether you know what you are almost, should you be approved, where you're going, what the kind of industry you're going in. And maybe to help Honorable Chair and Chairman and Speaker, two things. One, there are dams which are already built, and some of them are 50% in this country, big dams, some of them 50%, some of them 60%, 70% in terms of completion. And an example is one which is in my county. As an example, there are many in this country, but I'll give you one example, which is Murithii Dam, which costed about like 10 billion Kenya money, but it's not complete. Now with the austerity measures or finance bill having been rejected and many debate about now where we're going to get money, what will be your proposal on how to deal with that? Because PPP, which we suggested, is actually a future dams. But there are dams which are almost 80–90% complete, which are going to stall. And I hope you know what it means if a project is stalling like that. It means the contractor will be out of the ground, or is already out of the ground anyway, and then he's going to, whatever is asking government, that's accumulating interest. You know, so we will end up paying, rather than now paying 10 billion, we might do 20 billion. So what we do about that? Number two, there is a cancer which many Kenyans don't know. And I want to tell you, nominee, should you be appointed, please make sure, take care of this. From audit perspective, we have realized that as a country, there are again so many dams which were built using loans, right, from outside this country, from developing agencies or developing banks and so on. And that loan, Muuga, is being paid by National Treasury as exchequer, which means from our taxes. And those Kenyans who are paying those taxes, for example, are not even enjoying that water. So there's been a serious debate that even those agencies which run this water, those now regional agencies, they don't pay. So National Treasury ends up mobbing out taxes to pay for the loan about those projects. Therefore, there was a proposal, Muuga, there was a proposal in the discussion to say, why don't we charge a levy from the waters that we used to bill using these loans, so that the National Treasury can bill that loan? What will be your opinion as you come in? Will you agree with that opinion? And if you don't agree, what will be the future? Will we pay taxes on water?
Too long, Posing. You have made your point.
Or is it too long?
Yes.
I thought I was building the point so that they can understand. Sometimes, Honorable Speaker,
you made the point.
Yes, but sometimes we also help them to get knowledge. It's true.
Okay.
And there's a reason why we are in this committee chair. There's a reason.
You've got the question. Start with Naisula, go to Posing.
Thank you, Speaker. If I may respond to Honorable Nesula's question on the lean line between completion of projects and starting new projects. As I initially stated, I am well aware of our austerity measures. However, projects that have been started have already, Kenyans and the taxpayer has already sunk money in these projects. Honorable Nesula, through the Speaker, my target would first of all complete these projects and ensure that Kenyans get value for their money. How do they get value for their money? Through connections. The only proof that we are truly working as a country towards achievement of Vision 2030 of 100% water connectivity is by completing the projects and actually having connections to Kenyans. I agree it's a thin line between, because the House members may want new projects in their areas. And I would like to be reasonable. And we'll ask the Speaker, the same matter might come to your house again, to protect me, because members, Kenyans have already spent money on old projects that are not helping anyone. Unless we complete this, then we'll have a chain of incomplete projects throughout the country. And the Vision 2030, and well aware that water is one of the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, we will not achieve that by 2030. The second question from Honorable Nesula through the Speaker was on my thoughts on the many water agencies we have in this country. Our constitution is very clear, and the Water Act 2016 on the establishment of institutions that are required to man and manage the water affairs of the country. In case there is need to review this, I will be open to advisement through, of course, consultation, because I'm a team player, and wide research to see whether we can channel that to a centralized system that is easier to monitor and save the recurrent expenditure that Honorable Nesula is worried about.
Will members intimidate you?
If I may answer the question, Honorable Speaker, I think don't look at the size and think you can easily intimidate me. So I'm comfortable in my shoes. I think I have proven that for many years that I've lived. Thank you. Or want to answer? Honorable Kosing, through the Speaker, I would like to make it clear that I'm well aware of his dam. He has been vocal about this for many sessions in the House and in the previous, my predecessor, who was vetted on nominee on water. And I understand that his dam is approximately 50% complete. He has stated that almost 10 billion Kenya shillings have been sunk into the project. And now we are facing austerity measures, and this dam was not one of the PPP projects. And I'm also aware, as he said, of the costs that incur when a contractor stops work, claims that come, that are expensive to the exchequer. I would like to promise Honorable Kosing, if this House approves me, maybe I'll take him exactly to his dam as I discuss and get facts on exactly the status of that dam, and not only that dam, or other dams that are being financed by the national government, the exchequer, prepare a report on the same, and if our finances are not adequate, I will come to this house again and table my case to ensure that we don't have hanging projects, as I said. His second question was on loans that were taken by water works development agencies that are being serviced by the exchequer. I am well aware that the Ministry, Department of Water and Sanitation, is approximately, has a loan of approximately 225 billion. This came up in the sense that projects were done, and water being a devolved function, these projects were handed over to county governments through water service providers. I have been in this industry with water service providers for a long time. Now, the status is the water service providers, most of them don't break even in their collection during billing. So there's no money remittance to the water development works that should trickle back to repayment of these loans. I can promise you, if this house approves my nomination, I will work to strengthen our water service providers' institutions. I understand and I am well aware it is a burden to the exchequer, and we will work to ensure that these water service providers reduce their non-debit water, increase their billing, increase their last mile connectivity. As I said, last mile connectivity is the activity or projects that bring value to Kenyans. And through that, when our institutions become semi-autonomous, we can generate enough revenue to help in payment of these loans. Otherwise, I will have to consult with the National Treasury and also the task force established by the President on debt restructuring. Thank you.
Gikaria.
Thank you very much, Chair. Nothing much on the questionnaire that you did fill in. You have indicated you are a director in JAFEC Limited Company. Does it deal in water and sanitation issues? If yes, then how are you going to address, as per bullet 26, the conflict of interest, potential conflict of interest? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Speaker Sir. If I can address the question from Honorable Gikaria, I understand the responsibilities of this office if approved by this honorable committee. And yes, JAFEC is a group of like-minded engineers, very bright, to be honest. And if approved by this house, I will have to take a step back from that. Under the conflict of interest, as I said earlier, I have given my word that
I think that what it is that it doesn't mean you have to pull back. It's just that if that company ever gets a contract where you have influence, you declare a conflict of interest. Then at that time, the decision-making process can be that, don't give it to my company, or that it is known so that you have no hand in it. So don't tie yourself. Honorable Gikaria is getting you into trouble.
No,
thank you.
I appreciate what you have indicated, because what I expected is that he will declare his interest and maybe vacate.
So, Erick, be very concise. He asked, are you a director of this company?
Yes.
Yes.
Does it deal in the water sector? If the answer is yes, then you go to the next issue.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. So to confirm, I'm a director in that company. The company deals in water, sanitation, buildings, etc.
Okay. Robert Mbui. You'll pass. Owen?
Looking at your CV, Mr. Muuga, our nominee, I see that you have done extensive work in Kilifi. Thank you very much for that kind of work. I'm a young person, or not young really, but I want to ask you this question specifically, that you understand that environment. Water from Kilifi comes from Baricho. Baricho is on the lower side. For water to come to Mombasa, the water needs to go up. You know, so this is one of the unique cases in Kenya where you have water has to go up instead of gravity. The cost of electricity there is exorbitant, is very, very high. And the people of the coast actually have issues with power that is used for production of water. Now, the water is a constitutional right, but the cost of producing that water is very, very high, and therefore leading to high electricity bills with Kenya Power, and sometimes water is disconnected because of very high. What would be your solution to solve that problem, especially for the whole of coast region, where water has to be generated, has to be pumped up using electricity? What is your practical solution to that problem?
Hold, Erick, yes, Murugara.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. One question. Erick, Kenyans have waited for water for the last 60 years with abated breath. Millions of households everywhere are waiting for water. And they now look upon you, if approved by this House, to actually give them water. What is your word to them? And what should be their expectation from you as a young qualified engineer in water, on whom they will place a lot of reliance as far as water is concerned?
Thank you, Speaker. In response to Honorable Owen's question, is first of all, I will acknowledge that I've even met you. I've worked extensively in the water distribution network in Kilifi. And the challenge is you get water from Baricho, well fields, where water is pumped to GOtv in North Mainland. This is in Mombasa. And that is a long stretch. Unfortunately, the coast region is relatively flat. So flow by gravity becomes a little bit a challenge. But your solution is in Mwache Dam, which is being built in Kwale. So I know the rationing there is almost twice. Water comes on Friday and Mondays. And to solve your problem, unless we sink boreholes in Kilifi, then you don't have an active river. Or think of desalination, which is a relatively expensive way of doing it. So once Mwache comes in and water is supplied to Mombasa and the Kwale County, your rationing problems will reduce, because that water will come up to Mtwapa, serve Kilifi, and then Malindi. So, and your power expenses will be alleviated a little bit. That's being pragmatic to this committee.
Yes, Murugara's question.
Kenyans have waited for many years, Honorable, through the Speaker, Honorable Murugara, as we've said. The ministry has a vision of ensuring 100% connectivity to all Kenyans by 2030. This also agrees with the Africa Water Agenda 2063. My word to Kenyans is, I will do all I can. I will zero mostly on water that is not accounted for, water that is abstracted but does not get to the end user. In Kenya right now, that percentage stands at about 45%. That is water that does not have an economic impact directly to the water service providers, and also to Kenyans. If we at least reduce that and also sensitize Kenyans that it is a sole responsibility of every Kenyan to conserve the little that I have, conservation is key for our renewable sources. That is my commitment to the people of Kenya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll introduce myself. I was out, I had gone for mosque. My name is Abdul Rahim Dawood, MP for Nominee, and I probably, Engineer Muuga was born in the same hospital I was born in Maua General Hospital. But I will ask my question.
At different times.
At different times, yes. A span of more than 25, 30 years. He's like my son. Miss Engineer, you know, I'm hearing dams being built everywhere. But in our region, we've been told about the Kianjuri Dam, which will take water up to Tharaka. Not just Meru County, it will go up to Tharaka, maybe even Embu. I want to know, once you get in, you're talking about the existing which are there. If you come to do ours, will it be in this lifetime or maybe another lifetime? Second, there is a project which has been ongoing in Meru, sanitation, because sanitation is your forte. Sanitation, we've got Meru sewage plant, which has been built for the last 5 years, and it is never being completed. We need sewage everywhere in this country, plants. We need to get it out of towns. What do you envisage to do when you're there? And the last one is, you have talked about boreholes. I don't know if you're aware, in Nairobi, there are 6,000 boreholes. Only 2,000 are licensed. 4,000 boreholes are not licensed. Is borehole the way to go to get water when the aquifers are already dry? So how would you approach that, and how are you going to control it? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mary Amasa, let's take the next one.
Through the chairman, I have just one simple question to the nominee. From my experience in service to wananchi, I realized that we have so many water facilities, boreholes that have been drilled over the years, because there was even a time NGCDF also used to drill boreholes. But there's a problem with the sustainability in terms of maintenance, in terms of repairs. You'll go to an area, you ask wananchi whether they have water, they say we don't have water. You ask them, have you ever, there's no borehole that has ever been drilled here. There are two, but they're all not functioning. So my simple question, if approved as the nominee for Minister of Water, what are your plans? What interventions? Because I think there's need for a structured interventions on how to maintain and sustain this repair and maintenance across the country where these boreholes have been drilled. Thank you.
Nominee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll start with Honorable Dawood's question on Kianjuri Dam. Honorable Dawood, I appreciate your concern about dams in Meru. I also come from Meru. There are not many. In this regard, as you correctly pointed that my target would be first to complete the ongoing projects, I will look at, we have a Kenya National Water Master Plan. I'll review. These dams are not done because they have to be done. They are done on need basis. So if there are regions that are more deserving, in the spirit of integrity, we will do the right thing. And as you said...
Point of order. Yes. Point of order, Speaker.
Yes, Dawood.
The nominee, although he comes from my county, and he's aware of, maybe he's lived out of Meru for long, and he says they will prioritize where there is a need. Honorable Murugara's constituency and his county, there is a big need. Even in my constituency, there is a big need. So let us not be put in the ones who are satisfied. We are not satisfied.
Go ahead.
Thank you for that, Honorable Daud. I'm not saying that you are satisfied. Let me clarify myself through the chair, through the speaker. I'm well aware of regions in Meru, like Tharaka, and I am well aware the president the other day commissioned a Bushi Dam. Yes, it's someplace in Tharaka. Yes, yes. So, if we look at the master plan, the national water master plan, and which I have not, I've lived in Meru my entire life, first of all, to clarify that. So I am not a stranger to those lands, and even Honorable Muragara's region. All I can promise you is that we will look at the needs of Kenyans and also serve them on need basis. If your region is truly deserving of that, Honorable Muragara and Honorable Daud, your time shall come. The next question was sanitation in Meru. I am aware of that project that has taken long to be completed. I don't have the details right now, but I can assure Honorable Daud that I'll find out and get back to you. Through the chair, the speaker, Honorable Emase, your question was on sustainability of operations and maintenance. I would like to pronounce myself that operations and maintenance is mostly the responsibility of the WSP, unless you have privately owned facilities. For this to happen, it's a revenue problem. I have pronounced myself before this honorable committee that I am targeting to reduce non-revenue water from a bigger percentage, which is currently at 45, and bring it to less than 20, to allow the WSPs have adequate revenue to undertake operations and maintenance. Secondly, uptake of technology will play a vital role through the speaker in ensuring that operations and maintenance are minimized in such that if all our water facilities are well mapped in a centralized program, part of the innovation I was talking about, it is easier to pinpoint the year when they were built and to pinpoint when their time comes for repairs and maintenance. I hope I address your question, Honorable Mase. There was a question, Honorable Speaker, by Honorable Daud on boreholes in Nairobi, where you noted there was an article circulating that talked of 6,000 boreholes in Nairobi, and there's a possibility of Nairobi taps running dry. I am aware that regulation of sinking boreholes and approvals are given by the Water Resources Authority. However, the Water Resources Authority, and like most of our government institutions, are underfunded, and the resources in terms of personnel is minimal. My solution to this problem is, first of all, empower our institutions with the right resources, with the right personnel, and with people of merit. Meritocracy should be a key conversation in the ministry. Secondly, our boreholes could also be running dry because of their close proximity. There are provisions in design on the distance in between one borehole to the other because of recharge time. And also, Nairobi is every day turning into a concrete jungle. I will work in partnership with departments of planning in the county government and have something we call detention and retention ponds, to the point that when it rains, the water Okay.
Go on, go on.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thought you were interjecting, sorry. Retention and detention pods are recharge areas for aquifers. You realize when it rains in Nairobi, our roofs direct the water to the drains. And the water flows very fast past at the river, and it's gone.
Seepage.
There's no seepage. So detention and detention dams are some of the ideas I would like to bring to the ministry, whereby working in conjunction with county governments, we have parks specifically to hold that runoff.
In fact, Eric, under Schedule 4 of the Constitution, you are empowered to formulate policy for the country for protection of water, securing sufficient residual water, hydraulic engineering, and the safety of dams. So you have a duty even to guide counties. What Dawood is saying is true. In Nairobi, boreholes are, some are even 50 meters apart, if even less, everywhere.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that support. And Honorable Dawood, this is not a theory. I have been to Israel to benchmark on the same. So this can happen.
Amisi?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to the Honorable Nominee, I understood that you said you are 32 years of age. So in the demographic bracket, it puts you at the millennial, just like me. I'm a millennial. Yes, he's actually a millennial. The last of millennial, yeah. I think I belong in the middle of the millennial. Yeah, so you are basically closer. You are the closest the Gen Zs can come to. And that puts you like a control experiment in the management of the nation. A point whereby if you succeed, the young people feels that, yes, we can do it, one of our own did it. And if you fail, that will be the end of the young people's agitation in this country, because you will give a mark that even if you are given a responsibility, one of your own was there, and this is what he did. You understand that's a very, very important position you are going in. And that marks my question that what is this managerial experience that you bring to the ministry that you are going in? Then secondly, there is a drought problem in this country, and the water harvesting has been suggested as one of the ways of combating, just to mitigate the effects of drought on the supply of water, and especially to schools, because you see members of parliament running helter-skelter in town looking for water from all the ministries and parastatals. Is basically the problems of water in schools. How do you intend to mitigate the drought area and the supply of water to schools across the country? I want you to juxtapose that one with the presence of Lotikipi. There is a Lotikipi aquifer that can supply, it has been found out that it can actually supply underground water for 70 years to this country. How do you plan to utilize that? Thank you.
Hold, Eric. Mukami has nothing. Mishi?
And Honorable Speaker,
yes,
just as to say that these questions were actually sent to me by Gen Zs.
Mishi?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chairman. Honorable Chairman, my question is to the nominee on how he's going to navigate complex geopolitical dynamics to forge equitable agreement on shared water resources. I'm citing some areas, like for instance, in the coast region, we have the Mwache Dam, we have the Marere Spring, which is shared between Mombasa County and Kwale County, and there have been some rift, or rather some conflicts. I'm also looking on the Mzima Spring in Taita Taveta, which is also be shared by Mombasa County and also Taita Taveta County. And most of the time there are some issues, and that is why you have seen, we have not realized the Mzima Spring too. because they are undercurrent politics. So how are you going to navigate on this issue so that there is harmony and there is insurance of having access to water to our Kenyans? My other question is, right now, currently, agricultural productivity is not matching with our growing population, resulting in higher dependence on food imports. And one of the reasons is that we are still on dependence on rain-fed agriculture. So what kind of interventions are you going to do to ensure that at least as Kenyans we have food sufficiency? Lastly, are you still believing that the Kenya Kwanza government is going to realize one of the key pillars on building of 1,000 dams? And what is the status right now? How many dams have you realized right now? I thank you.
Yes, Murithii, tell us what you know and avoid what you don't. Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll start with the question from Missy, who said is a late mid-millennial. And he's talking about this being a control experiment. I will put it to this house that I could be young of age, but I truly understand the responsibilities on
You
my
already
shoulders.
said that. Go on.
Just clarifying myself
Yes.
to him. Secondly, the drought problem in schools.
Of, some aquifer somewhere. Is it the Turkana one?
Two questions. The Lotikipi aquifer, that is the second question. The first question, Speaker, was the managerial experience that you've acquired elsewhere that you think will help you for the new assignment you have, and the supply of water to schools, of course.
Okay. Okay. Honorable Speaker, I would like to respond to Honorable Hamisi's question on experience. First, I will cite that I'm vastly experienced on water and sanitation issues in the country. I have, as I said, I have worked as a team leader, design, etc. This experience does not mean that professionals in the ministry don't have it. I understand that the ministry is not short of professionals and it is not short of policy. All I bring to the ministry, if approved by this house, is the ethos of the private sector of accountability, transparency, as people have rightfully asked for. And also, I'm a wild consultative person, teamwork. I'm quick study, and I have worked at different stakeholders, down, as I said, from water service providers to water works development agencies. On the question of drought, I will submit to this house that it is unfortunate. We have the same thing happening year in, year out. I would like to be a change to that if approved by this house, because I don't believe in active maintenance. I believe in proactive. If we know a certain school, say in Oloitoktok, has water shortage problems, it had it last year, but one, then we are supposed to learn as a ministry. Solution to this would include immediate solutions, would include, first of all, gutters, simple solutions. Before we quantum leap, we have to start from the basics. Install gutters in all our primary schools and provide them with tanks to start with. This is taking into account the fact that the population of schools, that water might not be enough. Then the next immediate solution would be, can these people have a borehole that serves the school and the community at large? And then the long-term problem solution, the medium-term solution would be within a region that experiences drought and water scarcity. Why don't we have a water pan and that water is shared among schools during dry periods? The long-term solution is what I talked of. Our only solution is having large storage dams. Right now, our water storage starts at about 103 meter cubic per capita. The target is to achieve above 1,000 meter cubic per capita in the long run. The presence of Lotikipi aquifer that you have mentioned of, I know, if approved by this House, the ministry has one of the ministry departments deals with groundwater. Groundwater is in form of aquifers, as you have rightly pointed. So if this is true, I don't know where you got your data from, the Gen Z who is asking that question. I would like him to provide research, because I believe in research and proper mapping. Then this would have been a game saver, a game changer in those regions. So, but I promise I will work with the department responsible for groundwater harvesting and storage and find out these facts and table it to the members for discussion. Thank you so much, sir. Honorable, if I may, Honorable Speaker, to respond to Mishi. Mishi, I will say I was part of the team that looked at the distribution network in Taita Taveta a while back, if you look at my CV. And I understand that these water resources are shared between counties within that region. Specifically, Mzima, that was not a bulk distribution network. We were more looking at the distribution network that actually reaches the people. I understand in the Water Act 2016, it is the mandate of the Cabinet Secretary under this docket I'm nominated for to ensure catchment and interbasin transfers are amicable. Kindly, if I get into office approved by this House, Honorable Mishi, I will ensure we have smooth sharing of resources, because all these resources belong to all peoples of Kenya. They could be in your county, but if there's a room for us to accommodate the other and provide water to another Kenyan somewhere else, but I'll get back to you with a proper written discussion on that. And I will also ask for your support on the same, because members within that region have a say to the resources in their region. Thank you so much.
Russell, sorry, Sharia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I guess I had stepped out. That's why you think I'm not here anymore.
Yes.
I'd gone to the mosque.
To pray.
Thank you. Erick, my name is Abdi Shurie, MP Balambala. Mine is one very simple question. The right to clean water is seriously hampered by the lack of water infrastructure investments in the rural areas. If confirmed as part of a non-discriminatory policy making, would you consider championing extra complementary funding for rural Kenya? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Erick, my name is Dido Raso. I'm the MP for Saku. Saku is in Marsabit. Devolved function. As I walked in, you say water is a devolved function. If this House approves your nomination, you'll sit at the top, that you'll be the man in charge of water in this land. Then there's no water in Marsabit. Will it not disturb you? Secondly, you went for some training in Israel. It doesn't rain in Israel, and there's no flowing water. But the Israelis have piped water. And I think the only water that is evacuated to Israel is from the Nile, from the Egyptians. Egypt
that there's no rain in Egypt, maybe once in a blue moon. They live on the Nile, and every household or every house constructed in Egypt actually experiences running water. So when you look at Igembe or even Marsabit, people still draw water from earth dams, or what in the old colloquial we call ponds. What is coming into your mind that if you are given this job, that every Kenyan, wherever they are likely to get some water, maybe some clean water? Finally, it is about Vision 2030. In Vision 2030, it is projected that Kenya will be a middle-income country with some industrialization, and every household will have some water. With budget cut, austerity measures, and also with the clamor that Kenyans should not pay taxes. What is it that is coming into your mind, that how will you be able to navigate that issue of water, because water is life? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let's take the last one, Erick Mule.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Thank you very much, Erick, the nominee. I've seen your CV impressive at an early age. Erick, being a young engineer and worked in the industry, I know you have been working under the master plan, the National Water Master Plan of 2013, which should be guiding the country. 11 years down the line, Kenyans are yearning for clean water, and they're also yearning for water for irrigation. If you are approved as a member of the cabinet, I want to hear from you. Are you comfortable with the existing master plan? And if you are given an opportunity, what kind of a master plan for water will you give this country so that Kenyans can realize the dream of clean water as quickly as possible? And the second one, what timelines are you foreseeing to finish some of the major dams like Thwake Dam and Umar Dam in Kitui?
Answer those from Sharia, Raso, and Honorable Mule.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to start with a question from Abdi Sharif on water infrastructure in rural areas. And the funding, whether I would invest more on rural areas. I understand that more than 85% of the country is rural, and these people too deserve the human right of having water and sanitation, improved sanitation. And to do that, we have to leverage now, because of austerity measures, on other development partners. I'm sorry, I think you were not there when I explained this to Honorable Chungwa and Desuda. We have to package I'll repeat, we have to package our projects in such a way that they're attractive to private investors to start with. Water service providers, I don't know where you come from, the region, the name of the water service provider.
I come from Garissa.
What is the name of your water service provider? The city, the company that provides water.
I come from a rural constituency, so which I do not have. But if you want this Garissa water,
yes, thank you.
But they don't serve my constituency.
Yeah. So the county government has the responsibility of last mile connectivity. And to do this, the county government sets up water service providers. Water service providers actually do the actual connections, the last mile connection. So if you're not covered, I can work in synergy with your county government and understand why the water service provider does not cover your region. Secondly, on funding, those water service providers don't actually, so most of them don't break even in matters billing and the expenses O&M, operations and maintenance. To solve this problem, we would have to have the right personnel, invest, as I said, on smart meters, minimize non-revenue water, have these water service providers function as semi-autonomous bodies so that they can also attract funding, because the point here is source for funding. Secondly, we can package our projects in your rural areas and pitch to international developers, our development partners. I'm talking about World Bank, African Development Bank, to ensure the Vision 2030 of every Kenyan, especially in rural areas, has access to clean, sustainable, and in adequate quantities water. The question from Honorable Russo, if I may answer this through the speaker. Russo, sorry, my apologies, Honorable. Russo, if I may answer this through the speaker, that water is a devolved function. And your question was, how do I feel that Marsabit don't have water? I am sad, sir. To be honest, I am sad. As you said, that is how I feel. And it is very unfortunate to the people of Marsabit. I will tie this to the question on Israel. Israel is their available water resources, renewable water resources, they are not as endowed as we are as a country. It is unfortunate that 84% of our renewable water resources, Honorable Speaker, go to the ocean. When it rains, we have seen the the havoc caused by that water, loss of human life in regions just below your area. And that water is supposed to be, is God-given gift for us to be self-sustainable. To solve that problem, the immediate solution is what I talked about, water pans that are relatively inexpensive. But the long-term solution to that problem are the 100 PPP dams that we are trying to discuss, so that once it rains, we impound that water, have pipe networks to your people of Marsabit, and also enable them. I know Marsabit, some areas are irrigable, and some other areas are really fertile for agriculture. They can do double irrigation without depending on rain-fed agriculture, solving our climate resilience and drought resilience at the same time. So it's a matter of funding. Question from Vision 2030. There was a question on Vision 2030 and austerity of measures and funding. I think I've covered that well. I answered your question on the water problems in Marsabit and long-term solutions. Honorable Mule, there was a question on I've worked with master plans for more than 11 years. As you've said, rightly pointed out, that I will clarify myself. This is my position. What a master plan is a blueprint. It is but a guide. It is not cast on stone. And there are always rooms for adjustments, improvements, and better. Because as we are embracing technology...
Speaker, probably I need to I'm referring to the National Master Plan for Water, the Kenya National Master Plan, which was developed in 2013 with the help of JICA, which gives Kenya the way forward on how to manage, give Kenyans water, supply water. It has been in place for the last 11 years. Is it working? Because you have been on the field. If it is not working, if you are given an opportunity by this committee and approved. Are you comfortable with our master plan, or you'll need to go back to the drawing board and come up with a master plan which can help? And my second question was, what are the plans for major dams like Thwake, Uma Dam?
Okay, if I...
you know about them, answer.
I want to respond on
the... You are not a minister yet.
Yeah, I know on the situation of the Kenya Water Master Plan. I've worked with it. The problem is not the master plan. The problem is the funding. And I've discussed that, Honorable Mule, through the speaker, that the master plans are okay. The main challenge in this country is funding. So if the master plan is not working, it means we are not implementing it as it should be because of inadequate resources. Your second question on Thwake and Uma dams. Sir, I know these dams are ongoing, but I'm not already, the House has not approved me to be a CS. I'm still a nominee. But if the House approves me, I can give you a status and exactly what is happening in writing. Thank you.
Naisula.
This is
the very last.
The very last. And I really wanted to say this and to ask the nominee. The issue of equity in water resource in this country. It is in public domain, and many of these members know that when a CS or a PS, there have been allegations that when a CS or a PS sits there, they allocate water resources to the regions that they come from. And also we have even seen there were allegations where a CS and a PS were fighting over projects, firing people, moving projects. I want to know how you will ensure there is equity in every part of this country, regardless of how they vote, regardless of where people are, to make sure that water is available in every part of this country.
Yes.
Whether you'll be CS of Kenya or Igembe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. If I may respond to Honorable Elisuda. If you ask out there, people who have worked with me, they know my stand on integrity and honesty. I know it's out there. Kenyans will tell you. And I've responded to the same question to Honorable Murugara and Honorable Daoud. When pressed on the question of whether I will allocate them dams,
excited that you'll be taking water to their region.
That's the bubble. No, I said we will follow protocol.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Murithii?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you something. You said you graduated in the year 2016.
Yes.
Thereafter, you worked between 2016 and 24 on several project positions.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
As an engineer working in those project positions, were you required to be registered with the Engineers Board?
Yes, I am required to be registered with the Engineers Board of Kenya.
Yes. How come you only registered in 2024? So you're working without registration?
First of all, to pronounce myself, is that registration with the Engineers of Board of Kenya requires, first of all, you undergo training. Adequate training. The minimum years is 3 years. And I don't think there's a maximum number of years. And secondly, it also speaks of the priorities you have. It is very key to be registered, but I was multitasking between a master's degree at the University of Nairobi and working.
Those are unnecessary details. The question was very simple.
Yes.
When you are overseeing the projects, were you required to be registered as an engineer? You said yes. Is it a requirement?
It is a requirement to work under a registered engineer.
Yes.
Or not, when you are not registered, you work under registered.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Thank you.
So when you answer question very simply, it becomes very easy.
Thank you.
When you over-explain, you can land into difficulties.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Eric.
Yes.
May I ask you a few questions about yourself?
Okay.
Jeanette, want to ask a question?
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Yeah, I went to the mosque also, I delayed. Mr. Speaker, you know, when young people are given jobs at this level, high level, I don't know what happens. Immediately after swearing in, they are removed from the register of young people in the public eye. They become older people.
Yes.
Then the agitation continues that we want a young person on the table. I want to believe in this vetting committee today that we are vetting a young person. And he's going to go to, if he's approved, if the committee feels he's fit for the job, he will go there as a young person. Yeah, no, I have come to experience that we have vetted a young person who was given a job, and then when he took up the job, he became an older person. But when we were vetting him, he was a young man or a young lady. I remember very well. So I'm talking out of experience. So I think he will go there with the mindset and the belief of a young person, and the young people also will see one of them in that table as a young person. That's my comment, Mr. Speaker. But the other thing, he is from the one region of the country.
Igembe South.
Yeah, Igembe, yeah, but in a region. I hope there's somebody who I saw in the news saying that now that region is happy. I hope he was not talking about you, that you are going to serve all Kenyans.
We have dealt with that already. And Eric, when you find favor and you get approved by the committee and you become a CS, you are not a CS because you are a young person. You are a CS because you are a competent Kenyan.
Thank you.
Capable of discharging the responsibility of the office of CS, and you must serve Kenyans of all ages, the young, the middle-aged, the old, the very old, without fear or favor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes. Yes. And they don't only look at the mountain. Look at the plains, look at the valleys, the asals. Yes, look at the whole country. Because in this country, water is a source of major conflicts between herders and farmers, farmers and farmers, and many people. There are people who do not get the World Health Organization designated quantity of water, leave alone quality, quantity per day. And it's going to be upon you to assist this country for the period you will serve as minister, if you are approved, to ensure all that you have been told here. Mzima Springs, they want water to go to Mombasa. Everywhere people want water. There is something called the Nile Treaty, which is always an elephant in the room for us. 75% of the waters of Lake Victoria come from Kenya. And that water exits through the Nile to Egypt. Yet if you looked at the 1902 Nile Treaty between Egypt, Sudan, and the British, they said the waters of the Nile shall only be used 85% for Egypt, 10% for Sudan, and 5% for evaporation. They didn't even care about the source of the water. The treaty has been amended twice, but is still on the table and causing a rumpus between Ethiopia and Egypt. And Kenya, that feeds the Nile, is also an interested party. So you should also look at that when you get to office.
Chairman.
Yes.
To add on what you have said, the issue of Migingo Island also with Uganda.
Yes. Yes, the waters of the lake. Yes, now, Eric, let me ask you, those were my comments. You just take them and go and see how to live with them.
Thank you, Speaker, sir.
Yes. I've even been to your village. So when you serve people, also go up to every village. Eric, have you ever been mentioned adversely in any investigations on matters of integrity?
No, sir.
No, sir. Good. Do you hold any position in any political party within Kenya?
No, sir.
What is your net worth in terms of personal wealth?
My net worth is that 1 million Kenya shillings.
That 1 million. What is it made of? You've done much better than your age mates.
I come from a region that is engaged in farming.
Yes.
So I've invested in lands on and planted crops, tea, if you've been to the region.
Yes.
Coffee, bananas, and other.
Mira.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Eric, thank you very much. Yes.
I was asking whether he has a car.
Do you own a car?
No. I have chosen to invest instead of buying a car to start with.
Yes. If you are approved and appointed,
yes,
and you get into the office, and tomorrow a major contractor in the water sector comes and offers you a car, will you take it?
No.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
His MP, Honorable John Paul, when he entered Parliament, he as well did not have a car.
But President Uhuru bought him a car. And
yes, but you see, if he is appointed as a CS, he will definitely be getting mortgage. I mean,
Order, Dawood.
The Speaker.
There is no member of this committee who has you to defend a nominee. We're just asking him questions. They are not meant to trick him in any situation.
The Speaker.
Yes.
Now that the nominee has said he doesn't have a car, and he has never owned one, I wanted to know what is his dream car? Which one are you looking? What's your dream? Which one are you dreaming that one day? Which one?
Eric, don't answer that.
Honorable Speaker,
Yes.
I will need your protection in future.
Yes, don't answer that.
Did he answer your question?
Yes. No, he didn't.
Offered a car by a contractor in the water sector.
He said no. Okay. You are going into a ministry like many others. You know, the service ministries, water, roads, and agriculture, and all this, health, they are infiltrated by mega cartels, literally mafia. And you must, as a young person, resist their approaches to you and fight them out of the ministry so that you run a clean ministry to help Kenyans.
Thank you.
Eric, we are done with you. We have looked at your papers against what we have. We find them okay. There was no memorandum from the public against you. We now release you to go back to your other engagements and wait to hear your fate from this committee at a later stage.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, honorable members, for the engagement. I appreciate comments from all of you. And also, I would like to thank Kenyans who have been sending me messages of goodwill. And I hope that this committee rules in my favor. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
What time is it? The next one was supposed to be at 3. Half an hour.
Honorable members, I saw John Paul in the gallery. Honorable members, we will now break for lunch for 30 minutes. Lunch is also available to the media and everybody else here. 30 minutes, members, then we're back to take 2 more and we close.